It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. And I am your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. You can find me at Opperman Investigations and Digital Forensic Consulting, either through my website, emailrevealer.com, or you can just email me directly at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com. If you like the show, be sure and check out our Patreon, Opperman Report Patreon. Everything you hear Monday to Friday on AM/FM radio, you could find at the Patreon, plus exclusive content too as well. I'm thinking of, because I got a lot of response from last week's show. I think I had the suicide hotline was calling me up. I'm thinking of doing something on Patreon where I can do something like a $50 a month support section. A lot of other guys have it. And maybe if I can get 20 people supporting the show for $50 a month, I'll continue doing it. But something's got to give. I'll tell you that. We got to make some changes around here. That's for sure. But check out our Patreon, especially if you want to support the show and keep the show on the air. You can become a member at Patreon. You get the shows ad-free, commercial-free. Everybody loves to complain about the ads, but you have an opportunity to get the show ad-free for 10 cents a day. You'd think that would be a no-brainer, right? But it's much easier to complain. So you got Patreon, and on all the archives you can find for free at Spreaker.com. You go to Spreaker, Spreaker.com. You sign up for free. Within seconds, you can sign up using your Facebook or something like that. Just go, one of those quickie things. That's not login, And no charge. Then there's a chat room. You get an email notification when I put up new content. And chat room, email notification. And do a live show Friday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Finally back on Eastern Standard Time. I just got in. Been traveling for a month. Gadzooks. I've been on the road for a freaking month, man. I brought the whole studio with me with the big computer and the mic. I had to buy another mic while I was on the road. And even that, with all the mediocre internet while I was traveling, we had a lot of audio problems. So right now I got the mic and all the settings as high as they can go. So, and I'm looking at the meter. It looks good, but we got just so much interference you wouldn't believe. Problems we have over here. For no reason, of course. I'm just a podcaster. I'm just a YouTuber. So, let me see if I can... 1 second. I got to kind of untangle some of my wires here because I just barely reconnected everything up. This afternoon. I just got in from the airport. Oh, my God. What a rough flight I had. So, the deal was, in the past few months, here's the deal. My daughter graduated college not even 40 days ago, 50 days ago. And so I drove up to her graduation up in D.C. And the night before her graduation, she got a job. Really good job. Okay? But and all the people, too, who tried to tell me, college is a waste of money. Trust me. But the trick is you got to go get those internships while you're in college. Get those paid internships, and and really, to put yourself out there and build up your resume. So now she's got a really good job, and I agree with you. There are a lot of people they go to college, they get a degree, and then they can't get a job because they went through college but not doing any internships. And that's the trick, guys. Okay, trust me on this. That's how you get a good job. And she's got an incredible job. Oy. All right. So we had to, I went up there to D.C. for her graduation. Had to drive up there, drive back. And I still got in the window of my car the parking permit. Okay, from the college, from graduation day. And also from... the motel. I had to stay. There's like a homeless motel. They couldn't get any rooms because all the kids were graduating school and stuff. So all the hotels were booked up. into this horrible motel I was staying in. That parking pass too. It's still in a window. That's how. So then what we did was, how did we meet? She flew out to Vegas and I flew out to Vegas. We met in Vegas, and we purchased a car there from her ex-boyfriend. And we got a great deal on it, but there was a check engine light on it, so we had to get that fixed before we get the emissions done. Smog, right? So then we drove it to the next state where she was going to start her job. And we had to shop around, find her. We stayed in Airbnb. We had to find an apartment. We had to get the car smogged. We had all this kind of stuff. So when we purchased the car in Vegas, I got one of those 30-day moving tags in Vegas in order to drive it out of state. And when we're driving around in the new state, I get pulled over. I get pulled over by the cops, right? Because we don't have in that state, you have to have your moving tag, your temporary license in the back, but in the state, in Nevada, where we purchased the car, it's in the front. They put it in the front lower right window. So that was in compliance with the type of moving tag that we had, but because of in the other state, they didn't have it had to be in the back where the plate is. So I get pulled over, but I know I'm cool, man, because I'll get all my paperwork in order. But what do we find out? We find out that my license is suspended. Now, the reason why my license was suspended, okay, is because I wasn't even going to talk about any of this. I was going to just make a last-minute comment about this. The reason why my license got suspended is because when I traded in my car, and I bought the car I have now, Progressive Insurance was billing me for insurance for both cars. But you know how they do that, and it's on that automatic billing things, and it was under two different email addresses, so it was just being paid automatically. I didn't notice until there was a fraud alert on my credit card, and the payment was declined, and I get an email saying, hey, you owe us money for this insurance here. So I go log it in, and I see my car, and I see the insurance is paid. And I said, well, you know what? I says, well, I know my insurance is about $100 a month. Let me make a payment anyway. Okay, because they're saying I owe them money. Let me just make a payment anyway. And then another couple of weeks go by, and I get a notice your license is suspended. I said, what the hell's going on here? So I contact Progressive. I says, how's my license suspended? I'm looking at the thing right now. It says paid. It's the other car. I was still paying on the other car. So they refund me the money that I've been overpaying since I sent them the bill of sale. And it had been several months. They refund all that money, but they never went back to the DMV to tell them that all my insurance was current. So my license was never unsuspended from DMV. So when I get pulled over, the cop takes my license. So now here I am in another state with no ID, and I got to fly back. No way to fly back. I don't have my birth certificate or my passport or any of that kind of stuff, right? And I got to fly back. Then while I'm there, I get a job. This lawyer hires me, and I had to go to another state. Only for a couple of days, but I did have to fly to this other state and attend a settlement conference and a deposition. Okay. So I went to that, and, in order to get on the plane, I thought that I had enough paperwork because, I called ahead and they said, well, they just ask you a bunch of questions. Let me see what that says. Yeah. So when I get to the airport, they said, well, get there 2 hours early. They're just going to ask you some extra questions, and then you'll get through. And I talked to other people, and I said, oh, yeah, it's happened to us. But for some reason, they put me in this line with all these illegal aliens. Okay, all these immigration people, right? Instead of just the guy who had his license taken by the cops. And I had the ticket, and then while I was there online, I found my old license from Nevada that was expired. And there's a thing, too, where you can get on the plane with an expired license as long as it's not over 6 months. So long story short, okay, all this stuff you got, TSA and security at the airports, I figured out a way that if I wanted to, I could get on a plane with no ID. Okay, I could purchase a ticket and get on a plane with no ID. It's foolproof because I got on that plane, okay, and then I just had to fly home. I flew home yesterday morning, well, this day before. I didn't even know when it was. I think it was the day before, and with no ID. So there's a way to do this, guys. So all this stuff we're doing, we're taking our shoes off and all this stuff, man, it is for nothing. Because I did this in 2 airports, man. I was able to get on 3 times. I was able to get on a plane with no ID. Okay? And just pretty much just talk my way through it. And paperwork that could be faked if you wanted to. You know, this kind of stuff, you know, no picture ID, no passport, no birth certificate, nothing like that. Just some paperwork. So anyway, I got in yesterday, and I'm still, or it was the day before, I don't even remember, man. I'm exhausted. You have no idea. And I got so much I got to do to, the plan is either I'm going to sell this place or I'm going to put a tenant in this place, pack up, and then drive out west and join Vic. And then figure out what we're going to do over there. That's the big plan. Okay, and then also to figure out what we're going to be doing with the show, and if I'm going to keep doing PI work or not. I don't know. Last week I was really disgusted with all this stuff, and just fed up and ready to quit all this stuff, man. All public life altogether, and all this stuff I do, man. You know, like I've only recorded we had mic problems, we had audio problems, we had internet problems while I was on the road. But even then, I only recorded a couple of shows, you know. And I have people lined up, like big stuff, you know, exclusive stuff, you know, important stuff. And in the old days, I was so excited, man, to like line up these guests and then exclusive information and bring this to the audience. So I've done my work. I've found these people that are real life, really involved in something, firsthand, eyewitnesses, participants, get them on the record and bring them to the audience. And I was so excited to do that. And I got to tell you, man, I don't care anymore. I just don't care. The audience doesn't give a damn. The audience doesn't appreciate. Half the audience just wants to sabotage everything I'm doing instead of making any kind of effort to continue legit evidence gathering and reporting and documenting. You know, just forget it, you know, and just are happy, just happy to just see this BS out there, man, and just put that stuff out there. This crap you see on Twitter, just insanity, just complete insanity. So one option would be to just drop altogether the podcast and the internet stuff and just continue with the AM/FM radio stations. Because I got to tell you, man, you know, when you see the emails that come in every day and the phone calls that come in and the messages, they're not the crazy ones. You know, the people who listen on the radio aren't the crazy ones. It's these obsessed internet people that are just such a sad, lonely, crazy, obsessed people, man. It's just so hard to deal with and put up with. But what are you going to do? Let's see. Yeah. So anyway, coming up after this, I'm trying to decide what to play. And if anybody wants to come into the chat room and take a vote, I'd be willing to just take your vote and play that. One is U. Turley. I'm not sure if I played this or not. Thomas Mertrin Betrayed, the case against Abbott, James Fox, and author John Howard Griffin. U. Turley is a great guest. I don't think I've played it before. I played the other one with U. Turley where he came back with new information about Vince Foster, an update on that. So I can play U. Turley about Thomas Merton Betrayed, his newest book, The Case Against Abbott, James Fox, and the author John Howard Griffin. It's a great interview. I'm not sure if I played it before, though. Let me put this on mute. I think that's on mute. Oh, I got the flashlight on now. Another one would be Michael Robeson, Joe Exotic's campaign manager. Because Joe Exotic from Tiger King has run for president, and I was supposed to interview him, but they had him in solitary confinement, so I interviewed his campaign manager. It's a fun interview if you want to hear that. David Whelan back for the third time, The Killing of John Lennon, Part 3. Max Good, JFK assassination witness Ruth Payne. He did a really good documentary. It was a good interview, too. Ariel Holmes. I love this woman. Ariel Holmes wrote a book called Mad Love in New York City. And it's that her story, her true life story, they made a movie about it called Heaven Knows What. And she's like this street heroin addict in New York City. And the opening scene is this really moving suicide attempt. And it's all based on the true story of her life. And she's had a rough life, man, this poor woman. And she shares some stuff with us. Even getting the interview was difficult, I'll tell you. You know, I've been trying to get this interview for a couple of years. And finally I got her, and we almost didn't get it that day, too, because so many events and issues were arising in poor Ariel Holmes' life. But we got that, about her homelessness, her drug addiction, and this book she's written called Mad Love in New York City, and also to the movie. And you can get the movie tonight on Prime. It's called Heaven Knows What. Great movie. Great movie. So gritty and realistic, and based on, and the actress is the only movie she's been in, really, you know, that a real big part, based on her life, her true life. So great story there, if you want to hear that. Then we got Mike Marinacci came on. Marinacci, psychedelic cults and outlaw churches, LSD, cannabis, and spiritual sacraments in underground America. He talks a bit about Mickey Cesar from the Yippies, a guy I used to know back in New York City. Mickey was also, you know, he had, it was right next to Studio 9 Bleecker Street. He had like a little closet type apartment. It was so tiny. I think it was like built, you know, it wasn't like a real apartment. It was like just a piece of Studio 9 or 9 Bleecker. And a very strange guy. Anyway, so we talk about him a bit, if you want to hear that. Then we got David Graham about a broken documentary about the family court system. He's in Australia. Barrett Brown, media manipulation and internet misinformation. I'm not sure if I played that or not. Barrett Brown's always a great guest, though. And one of the few guys out there that's real, you know, and dealing with real stuff in real life. Sort of like I am myself. Lindsay Dennis also is the co-producer of Broken, a documentary about the dysfunctional family court system. Then we have Jen Thomas Bidwell. Remember her? We had her on. She lost her son, Teron Evans. She was the head of Black Lives Matter in Potsdam, New York. And very suspicious death of her son in his girlfriend's house, this weird overdose situation. And so we get into there's a lot of evidence that came out that with the police reports and stuff, we had her come back. And Everett Stern returns. He had that lawsuit with Michael Flynn. And he's running now for governor, I think governor or senator in Florida. And he's into a lot of stuff. We had him on twice. This is the second time we had him on. So if you want to put in the chat room what you want to hear, I'm willing to discuss it. Tiger King we got from Shane. Says he wants to hear Tiger King. Okay, everybody wants to hear Tiger King. I hate that. Okay. Let's see. If you missed it, Ed has enough internet people crap and thinking about quitting. Ed super enjoyed reading. Okay. Okay. So we'll play Tiger King. Okay. Let's see how we're doing on time. 22 minutes. So the name of the show tonight is about Mar-a-Lago, secret documents case, and body parts for sale. Okay. Everyone's aware of the Department of Justice FBI search of Mar-a-Lago, where they discovered all these secret documents, and Trump has a 34-count indictment on those charges, where there were subpoenas and search warrants and demanding the return of these documents, and they were moving them around, obstructing justice. And there's also a recording that just came out where he's showing these documents to third parties, kind of to flirt with these young ladies. Very bizarre. Everything is just so crazy and so weird these days. So Trump files a motion, his attorneys. Let me pull this. You know what? Let me find this. I was reading it. It's really a response in opposition to the government's motion for a continuance and proposed revised scheduling order. Now, basically what this is Trump's lawyers are filing a motion to the court saying, hey, you got a court date set on this for December, and we would like to extend that indefinitely. Okay? Which is, unusual. Okay? When you get arrested and you get indicted, the first court date, all that stuff is pushed, kicked down the road constantly in all kinds of criminal cases. And civil cases too, but mostly criminal cases. And they'll have these frequent monthly or every 2 months, these status hearings. Okay, what's going on? Did you turn over the discovery? Did you turn over this? Oh, Your Honor, we're waiting for this, we're waiting for that. What about negotiations, plea negotiations? Well, we're almost there, Your Honor. Give us one more month. And then, so we'll set this for another month for another status hearing. And, if you got a client who's facing charges, you got to attend all these status hearings. Now you can do it on Zoom. But it can be very tedious, because you got to sit through other cases and you got to sit there and go through the status hearing, and really nothing happens. Okay. In this case, Trump files this motion. I think it's like, how many pages? 12 pages, right? And so I hear about it on the news, CNN, MSNBC, and they're saying about how frivolous this is, that Trump would want to extend the trial date indefinitely for these bizarre, frivolous reasons, like he's running for president, okay, is one, okay? And that there's so many other court cases, his lawyers don't have time to work on this, and the lawyers need to get top secret clearance before they can even review discovery in this. And this is all so frivolous. Trump is just pushing this down the road. And if the judge grants this motion, that means she's in the bag because Judge Trump appointed her. Well, okay, I read this. It's only 12 pages. Anybody can read it. Okay? And first of all, they're talking about setting a trial date. All the discovery has not even been turned over to the defense yet. Okay. Yeah, which, discovery means is that the prosecution has to show the defense, hey, here's all the evidence we have against you. This is what we're going to be presenting at trial against you. Okay, but in this case, they're saying, well, since you lawyers and stuff don't have security clearances yet, we're holding back some of the evidence we have against you, that we're not going to turn it over to you until you have security clearances. So now it's only been a month. He just got arrested a month ago, and they're expecting these lawyers to run out and get these security clearances like they've got nothing else to do. Now, one of the points these lawyers are making about why they need more time and I think they're going to win this, by the way. Okay, I think that this will be extended indefinitely until after the election for many reasons, and we're going to get into this. And you're going to hear the straight dope on this, that your average guy who's politically motivated is not going to give you. Okay, all you're going to hear, Trump bad, Trump good. Trump hero, Trump villain. Okay, I'm going to tell you how things work in court and how Trump's got a legit complaint here. Okay? So first of all the discovery hasn't even been turned over yet. Okay? The discovery that has been turned over, it's insane. 800,000 pages of interviews, 1.4 million emails, plus attachments. I wish I had the numbers. Here it is. Here it is. This is insane. The government. This is what the government's given them. 483,300 records. In excess of 833,450 pages, consisting of approximately 122,650 emails, including attachments, and 305,670 documents gathered from over 90 separate custodians. The initial production also included some 57 terabytes of compressed raw CTV footage. So far as approximately 9 months of CTV footage, but the final number is not yet certain. In addition, there will be additional productions of Discovery provided by the government as it continues to process some devices and search warrant returns. Notably, the government has not produced all interview-related material, including certain witness statements and associated memorandum of those statements, memorialization, the notes of those statements. So they haven't even turned over like half the discovery that they're required to turn over to the defense. And MSNBC and CNN is saying, Trump's trying to stall. But if you go to court, you want to know what the evidence is against you, you know? Then, you know, first you got to see all this stuff, right? You got to review it. Then you got to file real motions to attack, you know, exclude things. Before you're close to going to trial. There's no way on the face of this earth, man, with 100 lawyers and 100 paralegals and 100 investigators, you could pull this off. But by December, crazy, impossible. Okay, now in addition to that, in any routine case, from a DUI to a drug case, breaking and entry, assault and battery, any simple case, fraud case, all these simple cases you have all day long at court. If the attorneys or the defendant have conflicting legal schedule, okay, the judge will defer to the previously scheduled appearances, court dates, etc. Now, they make a list here of all of Trump's other litigation going on here. Okay? And he's got a ton of cases already that these particular lawyers that are defending him on this case are also defending him on these other cases. So these lawyers have trial dates, depositions, court dates, appearances, all already on the calendar. Okay? That now this new judge can't say, well, you have to go and tell all those other judges and all those other courts, tough luck, we're changing everything now for me. Okay? That never happens. Okay? So, which makes me wonder, too, why, if they've got this big giant case here with 34 counts, felony counts, why they charged the Stormy Daniels case in New York in state court, which are far less serious charges, but now the scheduling of those hearings and those appearances supersede. They're higher, more relevant than new court dates and appearances. So it really makes you wonder if perhaps, there's some good lawyering going on here, guys. Okay, Don't listen to all this stuff you hear in the press about these are frivolous motions. They're really not. There was another one too today in Georgia, a writ of mandamus. That is also that they're calling it frivolous because he's trying to have the DA thrown out, the DA's report thrown out. Now, they filed a previous motion about this, okay, and the judge never ruled on it. And now we have a situation where the DA in Georgia is about to come back, come back and charge grand jury indictments, and the judge has never bothered to rule on this previous motion. What other choice? Yeah, if this was you now and you're facing these charges, and you're telling the judge, hey, we want you to quash this report, we want you to quash this grand jury. There's a lot of problems with it, rule on our motion, and the judge doesn't get back to you. What recourse do you have? The only thing you can do is now file a motion, a writ of mandamus, to remove the judge or to remove the DA in this case. And that's what other recourse do you have? So when you're hearing all this stuff on the news about how all this is frivolous and Jack Smith hammering it down, and he really hasn't. But now there's something else here too in this motion here, this response in opposition to the government motion for continuance and proposed a revised scheduling order. Okay, that just came out. It was like 48 hours ago. I think I was on a plane when this thing came out. There's something else in this thing. Okay, first I mentioned Reality Winner too. You might remember I had Reality Winner's mom on the show a couple of times here, and I also was chatting with the Reality. Just happened today. We're talking about fishing. The Ernest Hemingway. Oh my God. They cite a number of case precedents in this, and they cite Reality Winner, the U.S. against Reality Winner, but they cite also too the United States against Manuel Noriega, the president of Panama. Okay, and they cite his case. Now, I wish I could pull. Oh, maybe I can search for it. I can. Okay. Yeah, good. Let's pull this up. 1 second. I'm sorry. N-O-R. Oh, I put N-I-R. N-O-R. How do you spell Noriega? N-O-R. Maybe put Manuel. M-A-N-U-E-L. Hope that's how you spell Manuel. Yeah. How do I get to that page? Oh, here we go. United States versus Noriega. That the opining, that they're citing previous case law, that the prosecution of Panama's former dictator, funny how they call him a dictator, Manuel Noriega, was both. Well, how is he a dictator when he was supported by the United States? Were you admitting that we propped up a dictator in Panama? That's interesting. Opining that the prosecution of Panama's former dictator, Noriega, was both unusual and complex, according to, and accordingly warranted a continuance. Now, this is very interesting. Because I've seen motions before to request a continuance of a case, and I've never seen them cite U.S. versus Noriega. I would have noticed, that would have stuck out. And there's certain, the standard boilerplate case precedents that are used all the time in these things, and when you see it, you recognize it right away and say, oh yeah, like when you're asking for legal fees or things like that. So very interesting that they would bring up the case against Manuel Noriega in this. And what I sense here is something called gray mail. That the Trump attorneys mention the case of Noriega, okay, because of all the shadiness surrounding the Noriega case. Noriega, even if you go on Wikipedia now, everyone admits publicly that the guy was funded by CIA and was placed in power by CIA and was paid by CIA. They have the CIA produced, because Noriega came back and said, hey, I was paid millions of dollars by the CIA. And the CIA came back with, oh, no, it's only been a few $100,000. Okay. Here, look, here's the canceled checks. We got the canceled checks. But God knows how much cash they gave this guy or coke they gave this guy. Who knows, right? Okay, if he's saying millions, I kind of believe the guy. But then again, too, where was Noriega all these years? You know, they've had him locked away in Colorado someplace, right? No interviews. No one can write him a letter. You know? Was he even in that prison, you know? If the guy was CIA, was friends with all these people, Bush and all these characters, dealing drugs with Ollie North and all this stuff, was he even really in prison? You know, could they have made a deal with this guy? They walked him out someplace, you know, got him a little condo in Miami, you know, you know what I mean? You know, selling used cars or some used car lot. Yeah. So is Trump sending a signal saying, hey, you know, we may have to, you know, we're bringing up Noriega here. We may be revealing some big top secrets about Noriega and his cozy relationship with the Bushes and the Clintons and the Obamas. You know, maybe we'll have to reveal all this stuff if you're going to really give us a hard time about these documents that everybody has. Okay. Okay, maybe Trump used them to pick up some chicks, okay? But clearly, man, this stuff has value and people are selling it. You know, I've heard other stories too, you know, about Dick Cheney and stuff like that years ago, having access to certain things that, you know, you're not allowed to have after you leave office, okay? Things that I found very credible. So that is my take on this. You're going to see... the judge is going to postpone this trial, okay? Forget the December date. That's gone, okay? Will it be indefinitely postponement, okay, with no until all this other stuff is settled, all these other cases are settled, the election's settled, all this stuff? It is legit, man. If the guy is running for president, man, that, you know, legitimately, you know, he's the party's number one candidate. You know, it's not like if I were to get charged with a crime and then say, okay, I'm going to run for president, you know, or Joe Exotic running for president. Okay, that's not a legitimate. But you know, the guy was president. He's running for president. Yeah, he could win. You know, he's going to be the party's leader. He's going to win the primary. Although, you know, when you see Tucker Carlson was just throwing softballs to DeSantis today, who knows what's going on with that? Because I can't see DeSantis having a chance. You know, there was a thing, you know, but by the way, too, in Florida here, this is not talked about in the news nationwide at all. Homeowners insurance here in Florida is being canceled left and right and being raised like crazy. Okay? I myself am paying an insane. I started off paying $100 a month. I think I'm paying like $400 a month right now on homeowners insurance down here in Florida. Now I got to shop around and fix that. Okay, I just haven't had time because I'm so busy working on the show and bringing people all this exclusive stuff, and then just get crapped all over. Okay, so I haven't had time to fix these, you know, personal issues I got to straighten out, you know, my own life. But this is. And the rents here, man, have gone through their freaking inflation. Florida is like the worst state to be living in right now. Then they do this crazy thing. You can't, if you want to get like a new bathroom or a new kitchen, you want to get your home remodeled here in Florida. Most states, people that call Lowe's, that call Home Depot, they come down, they measure your bathroom, we're going to give you an estimate. They don't even answer the phone down there anymore. They can't take new jobs, because there are no workers down here to do that kind of labor. There's no skilled labor down here. Even before they passed this crazy law, and now they're passing another crazy law saying that if you live in a state that allows migrants to get driver's licenses, when you get pulled over with that kind of license here, they're gonna harass you. And you're going to go through extra scrutiny. There isn't even any guidelines of what they're going to be going through. Just hey, if you have a driver's license from Maine, okay, and you come driving through Florida, they're going to give you a hard time. That's the bottom line, okay? So DeSantis is making a disaster out of this state, the state of Florida. So very difficult situation there. Let's see how we're doing on time. There's just so much crap. Oh, 43 minutes. Let's see. Texas 40. Oh, really? Yeah, right. Texas, the homeowners insurance is up too. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Okay, back here. What was the other? Oh, yeah. What's this other thing, man? Let me close some of these windows since we're getting through this. All this court stuff. By the way, they finally arrested that guy Rex Harmon about the Gigolo Beach on Long Island. All those bodies that they found buried on that beach. For years and years and years, people were contacting me saying, "Hey, Ed, man, you got to look into this case. You got to, do a couple of shows about this case." So I've been aware about this for a long time when these prostitutes were disappearing. And it seems like the whole investigation was kind of just like stagnant, that they weren't putting a lot of effort into trying to find out who was behind all this. Until suddenly, like in the last year, they pulled out all the stops. And they caught this guy based on burner cell phone records. Okay? A lot of people don't realize the amount of information you can get from people think that just because you're buying a burner cell phone and your name you're buying it with cash and your name is not attached to it when you purchase the phone. Once there's all kinds of tower tracking, that phone is logging on to different Wi-Fi services as you're traveling around. As you're walking in from one place into another. So there's a ton of information on those burner phones that can return the identity of that person. If you go to my website, we had a cell phone tracking service on there where we would geo-tracking and locating of cell phone services. And we had one, and two, there was a whole big thing, too, about where iPhone was storing that information for their own purposes. And then there was a big scandal about it, so they stopped doing that. So that information was available to private investigators and digital forensic investigators for a long, long time. And we had one case where this woman was cheating on this guy, and we could track her from the Wi-Fi and where the towers where this phone was located, to the gym, to the Starbucks, to her personal trainer's apartment. Okay, we were able to trace that down. There was another time we had, it was a bank robbery. The client was accused of bank robberies, and I didn't do that myself, but I referred it, and we were able to prove that his cell phone was not in the location where those bank robberies were at the time of the bank robberies. So there's a lot of data you can pull up from burner phones. People think it's like some kind of totally, I guess from watching The Wire and stuff, like they think, that it's all like totally anonymous, and it's really not. There's a ton of information you can pull on it. There's also ways to defeat all that stuff too, if you know what you're doing. Okay, let's pull all this up. Let's clean all this out. Which one is this? Okay, this is back to... oh, by the way, too, if you notice, too, right after Trump came back with this really well-presented opposition to the trial date there, they were trying to get the trial date extended indefinitely, Jack Smith came back with these target letters of Trump staffers and stuff like that, threatening them that they're about to be indicted, too. So there's a lot going on here. That's prosecutorial intimidation of witnesses and friends of the defense, which goes on in every case, too. If you got a case with the federal government, they're going to threaten to arrest your wife, they're going to threaten to arrest your mother, your family, and they're going to start building cases against your family. Look at what happened to Tommy Chong. Oh, God. I got something pulling open up here. This prick. Close this one. What's the next thing going on here? I may not have the notes pulled up on this, but I know enough by memory. Where they catch this guy. Come on, close that too. More Trump. I think we're finally getting to it. Okay, yeah, we are getting to it. Yeah. Grisly scene. FBI finds stolen human remains decorated around Mount Washington man's home. Now, the guy's name is James Knott. N-O-T-T. And cops are investigating this case of selling human body parts. And it traces back to this guy Knott. Because what happened was there was another case previous to this guy Knott. See, everyone knows about Knott. Okay? And they found 40 skulls in this guy's house, and one was on his mattress, and another one had a scarf wrapped around it. And when the cops came and they said, "Is there anybody else in the home with you?" And he says, "Only my dead friends." And he's got all these human body parts around his house because he was selling them. Okay? He was selling these human body parts. Now, the way they found this guy, and by the way, this doesn't seem to be much of a investigation of who these people are. Like, where did they get these? We know he was selling them, and we know one guy he was purchasing them from was from Harvard Medical School. What is it, the Harvard Medical School or the Harvard Medical School morgue manager, Cedric Lodge. Okay? This traces back to Harvard. Okay? The Harvard Medical School. This was like, what date was this? This was back in June 15th. So this is about a month ago. They arrest this other guy. Okay? Because now he was snatched, and we know where he was getting his body parts from. He was getting them from the morgue at Harvard. Okay? And he was selling these parts, skin, and they were talking about making leather out of the skin. He was selling brains. Okay, and in one email he had in the headline said brains, in the subject line of the email. Now, by the way, all these guys they're arresting, they're all released on bail. None of these people are being held because they're calling this all nonviolent crimes. We don't know, and spines they're selling. Okay, what they're doing with these body parts, we don't know. We know that in one case there was a woman. No, it has nothing to do with war. Where they're getting these body parts from the Harvard Medical School. There's one woman in all this had a store that was called. I hope I can pull this up because and there's a bunch of people involved in this too. Cat's Creepy Creations. Okay. When the FBI searched the store in Salem, Massachusetts, and where she was selling all kind of creepy stuff, and they were selling human body parts out of this store. Okay, so it wasn't like on the shelf, or most of it wasn't on the shelf. A lot of it was done, people who knew each other. It was like a secret society here of these people selling these human body parts. For what purpose? And this is quite a bit of commerce going on here. It was quite a bit of business going on here with all these body parts. Nothing in the news you could find on this. Very little. And they were selling this stuff through the U.S. mail. Okay? And when you look at these people, they got pictures of these folks. You look at them, man. They're not like you would suspect that they would be like goth types with tattoos on their face and things like that. These are people that look like grandmas, school teachers, and that type, okay? So a lot of stuff going on here with these human body parts being 40 skulls, spinal cords, femurs, and hip bones in this guy's home with no investigation of who these body parts came from, okay? They were being sold on Facebook. They were using PayPal. How come it is, man? I can't make a joke on Facebook without them shutting down my Facebook, but you can sell human body parts on Facebook. How? Can you explain that to me? Okay, how I don't have a YouTube channel right now, but these guys can sell human body parts left and right all over the place, and talking about how to make leather. Oh, by the way, too, this guy also had like an AK-47. He had all kind of rifles, 38 caliber revolver, loaded and unloaded rifle magazines, extra ammunition, inert grenades, 2 plates of body armor. So where was he getting these body parts from? He's got all this weaponry here, body armor. Where is he getting the body parts from? Was he producing them himself? Was he buying them? Yeah, cheaper. You're right. No one knows about this. No one's talking about this thing at all. You know, body parts for sale. And one woman has a store in Salem, Massachusetts, where they're running her business of human body parts. Oh God, I didn't even get a chance to talk about this, but in the middle of the night, 3 a.m. last night. Okay, that's when this stuff came out. Biden signs an executive order to activate 3,000 reservists for the Russia-Ukraine war. We've already got like 20,000 troops over there training in Germany. Clearly, there's American mercenaries and English-speaking mercenaries working for the Ukrainians there. All this stuff we saw about the Ukrainians, arming little old ladies with BB guns and all that stuff was just a bunch of war propaganda. We were shipping in mercenaries, and now we're active U.S. military troops are going to be deployed. Okay. So, very serious development here. It appears to me, first of all, that the Bidens are bigger criminals than the Clintons and the Obamas and all of these people, the Bushes, all put together. Okay? When you hear those Hunter Biden tapes where he's extorting money from the Chinese and stuff like that, blatant extortion for $5 million a pop. John Kerry's son was involved in all this, getting money from Chinese all over the place. By the way, what was this? There's something else here. Trump. Oh, get this, man. They got a thing here about Trump's the money. He's made over $1 billion in income after he left the presidency, and one of his checks was like $2 million he got from the wife of Sun Young Moon for giving a speech. The Moonies, the Unification. What is that? The Unification Church. What is that called? I can pull it up real quick. The Unification Church. The wife of Sun Young Moon, $2.5 million. Oh, wait a second. There's twice here. $2 million for speaking events, and $2.5 million to comment on a boxing match. And get this too, man. And Melania Trump got $1.2 million from the Unification Church. They're pumping money into the Trumps here. There's a ton of money there, man. Oh boy, this is so interesting too. Look at this too. It talks about how Trump got income between $1,000 and $2,500 from a carousel in New York Central Park. But then he revised it to $2,800. It gets interesting that a carousel in Central Park would only. I guess that's his cut. Is $2,800. I guess it made a lot more than that. So fascinating stuff there. And somehow remember all that stuff about Deutsche Bank and how they were cutting him off. He was able to pay off their mortgage on the Doral, Florida Golf Club. $25 and $50 million, between $25 and $50 million. He was able to pay them off. Where'd that money come from? That's very interesting stuff they're going on too. That you don't hear about. No one talks about that stuff either. Everybody talks about the exact same stuff all over the place. The submarine and all that stuff. Fascism. Okay. All right, guys. I think we're out of time. You wanted to hear Joe Exotic. Fine, we'll play Joe Exotic. All right. Now, but there was, you want to hear something else too? In the chat room, you want to tell me? We'll do the Joe Exotic one, fine. You Eternally, we can play about the Thomas Merchant, Betrayed, his new book. We can play David Whelan, Part 3, The Killing of John Lennon. We can play Max Good, JFK Assassination Witness, Ruth Payne, that's good. Ariel Holmes, I love her, man. I'd like to see her sell some books. Mad Love in New York City. Mike Marianacci. Mike Marianacci was on my show. It was like the first year I started doing a show. I just wrote another book. I'd like to sell some books for him, too. Psychedelic Cults and the Outlaw Churches, LSD, Cannabis, and Spiritual Sacraments in Underground America. I'd like to see him sell some books. He's a good guy. David Graham, Broken Documentary. Barrett Brown. I'm not sure if I played that before or not. Lindsay Dennis, about the Broken Documentary. Jen Thomas Bidwell, The Unsolved and Investigated Death of Teron Evans. That's Teron Evans' mother. And I got to tell you something, man. She is relentless. This woman posts TikToks 25 a day about the death of her son, and no one's helping her. Black Lives Matter. She ran Black Lives Matter in Potsdam, New York, and they're not helping her. No one's helping her. Pretty much except us. Everett Stern returns. We can have him on too. So let's take a look in the chat room and see what you guys voted for. Barrett Brown. Okay. Don't quit. Okay. Good luck on that, man. I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. Okay. I gotta, what are you gonna do? I did this a long time. I did this a long, long time. My work's out there. It speaks for itself. History will judge me, and we'll just leave it at that. There is so much intelligence infiltration into quote-unquote alt media. Just the little stuff that I stumbled on in the past few months. You have no idea. These are people that are well-funded. These are people that have hours and hours and hours a day to stalk and harass and make trouble for you and hack into your computers and stuff like that. And you got two versions of people. One that are funded, and then the mentally ill who can't help themselves. The obsessed and the mentally ill that are being weaponized. Okay? So if you're out there and you're spending 5-6 hours a day obsessed on me, if you're not getting paid for it, it's because you're being manipulated by people that are getting paid for it. Okay? And you got to know that, man. And even like the crazy people that are obsessed with me, I'm not bullshitting you. No one's ever said that, man. Everyone knows. No one ever said I'm a liar. No one ever said I'm stupid. Okay? And a lot of this stuff I got to blame myself for, too. I gave a platform to a lot of people. Later on, it turned out to be agents. What are you going to do, man? What are you going to do? Maybe in that $50 section, I'll do a big expose and name a bunch of names. Maybe in that $50 section, we'll get into a whole situation here about some people that everybody are so damn impressed with and their expertise on certain subjects that they can't even walk into a supermarket and buy groceries because they're banned from their they have a trespass warrant from their supermarket around the corner because of their crazy, bizarre personal behavior, okay, in real life. Okay? Maybe we can get into stuff like that. All right, how's that? We'll set up how we would have to do that is we would have to set up a Rumble account. I would disclose all this stuff on Rumble because if I were to disclose it on either Patreon or my podcast platform, it would get shut down. Okay, because they have enough trolls on the payroll, and they've got enough friends in high school and stuff like that, and people, weirdos, that are just the obsessive internet people, that they could file enough complaints to get the stuff shut down. Just like my YouTube channel got shut down. So I would announce it in Patreon in the $50 section, and then we would do the reports on Rumble. So if they shut down the Rumble, who cares, right? I could just put it back up. So that would be the plan, guys, okay? And maybe that would be a $50 section or maybe a $100 section. Who knows, right? Who knows what we would do there? But this stuff involves a Kino, all right? Involves QAnon, National Security Agency, and there's a lot of stuff going on too with these characters trying to cover their tracks and stuff like that. When it's all been downloaded a long time ago, and off-site. Okay, they have armies of trolls who do anything to bring it to them. All right, guys. Thank you so much. What a long week it's been, man. And I still got to do so much. I got a doctor's appointment tomorrow, so I got to go get my blood test done tonight. Not my blood test, my blood pressure. I got to get tonight. Plus, buy some food, eat some dinner. All right, guys. Good night.